Have you ever wondered why some people seem to naturally command attention, while others, despite their best efforts, remain unnoticed? Do you feel like you give your all but somehow always find yourself overlooked? What if I told you that subtle psychological strategies, rooted in ancient Stoicism, could be the key to shifting your social dynamics and elevating your influence in any situation? These aren't just tricks to gain attention. They're powerful tools for personal growth, self-mastery, and understanding human behavior. In this video, we're going to uncover 8 of the most profound strategies, each backed by the wisdom of Stoic teachings. Imagine stepping into any room, conversation, or meeting and having people instinctively prioritize your presence and value your opinion. As we journey through these strategies, we'll explore not only how they work, but why they're so effective. Miss one, and you risk missing the complete picture, because every strategy builds on the next. By the end of this video, you'll not only understand these strategies, but you'll know how to apply them in a way that's ethical, authentic, and transformative. Let's start with the first key to unlocking this power: master persuasive storytelling. 1. Master persuasive storytelling. Why do some ideas stick with us while others seem to fade, no matter how logical or insightful they may be? It's because facts alone rarely change minds. Stories do. From the dawn of human civilization, storytelling has been a fundamental way we communicate, inspire, and influence. Whether it was around ancient fires or in the viral videos of today, stories have always captured the human imagination. But how do you wield this ancient tool of influence effectively, and how does it align with Stoic wisdom? The Stoic philosopher Epictetus famously said, "Men are disturbed not by things, but by the view which they take of them." In essence, this is the power of storytelling. When you frame your thoughts, arguments, or ideas in the form of a story, you provide a lens through which others view the situation. It's not merely about presenting your point of view, but guiding the listener to see it through a narrative that resonates on a deeper, emotional level. Stoicism, which teaches us to master our emotions and reactions, is directly connected to this skill. Stories evoke empathy and human connection, two elements that are key to influencing others. But how can we make our stories persuasive? First, consider the emotional journey you want to take your audience on. Ask yourself, what emotions do I want to evoke? Inspiration, hope, urgency, or perhaps empathy? The Stoics were well aware of the emotional power behind stories, knowing that people are not driven solely by logic, but by how they interpret and feel about their experiences. Your story should make them feel involved, as if they are part of the narrative. This could be a tale of overcoming challenges, finding strength in adversity, or pursuing a noble cause, things that resonate with Stoic values like courage, resilience, and wisdom. For instance, imagine you're trying to persuade a team to take on a difficult project. Rather than just listing data points and risks, tell a story. Talk about another team that faced similar odds, yet through their dedication, they triumphed. Draw parallels to heroes who faced adversity and emerged victorious. By the end of the story, the project is no longer just a task, but a challenge worth undertaking. Everyone loves to be part of a heroic narrative. Through your story, you guide them towards seeing themselves as those heroes, making them more likely to support your vision. But as with everything in Stoicism, authenticity is critical. People can sense when a story is contrived or manipulative, and the effect can be the opposite of what you intend. The goal is not to trick others, but to connect on a genuine level, to help them see things from your perspective through shared experiences and emotions. Authenticity builds trust, and trust makes your influence last. Remember, stories are not just tools for communication. They are mechanisms for shaping reality, for yourself and for others. So, as you move forward, remember the power of your words. They can reshape perceptions, ignite action, and create lasting change when used wisely. And speaking of wisdom, the next strategy we'll explore is one that requires not words, but silence. Let's talk about the power of strategic silence. 2. Use the power of strategic silence. In our modern world, where everyone seems eager to fill the silence with noise, have you ever considered the immense power of holding your tongue? Strategic silence is not about avoiding communication. It's about mastering the art of when not to speak. Stoicism, which teaches us the importance of restraint, is directly tied to this principle. By embracing silence, we create space for reflection, for understanding, and most importantly, for influence. You've likely been in conversations where words fly rapidly, emotions flare up, and voices get louder as if volume alone could win the argument. It's tempting to jump in, to add your voice to the clamor, but sometimes the most powerful move is to say nothing at all. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." This ancient wisdom reminds us that true power lies in observing first, then speaking with intention. When you choose silence in the midst of a heated discussion or negotiation, you create a moment of pause. This pause can be unsettling for others. They become anxious, wondering what you're thinking, and in that silence, they often reveal more than they intended. They may rush to fill the void with additional information, giving you insight into their true thoughts and feelings. By being silent, you take control of the conversation without saying a word, turning yourself into the one others look to for direction. But strategic silence isn't just about listening. It's about using your silence to influence the pace and tone of the interaction. Think of it as a tool, not for manipulation, but for creating clarity. When you wait to speak, you give yourself time to assess the situation, to think critically, and to respond with wisdom rather than reacting out of emotion. Stoicism teaches us to be the master of our reactions, and silence gives us the space to achieve that mastery. Consider the Stoic idea that external events are beyond our control, but our responses are not. In conversations, this applies directly. You cannot control what others say, but you can control how and when you respond. A well-placed pause or thoughtful silence can be more powerful than any argument or witty remark. It allows others to see you as composed, thoughtful, and in control, qualities that naturally command respect and attention. However, like all strategies, silence must be used with balance. Overuse it, and you risk appearing disinterested or aloof, which could distance you from others. Stoicism is all about finding the right balance in life, and this applies here. Your silence should be a conscious decision, applied in moments where it adds value to the conversation or helps guide the direction of dialogue. Silence, when combined with active listening, positions you as someone others respect and turn to for wisdom. And once you've mastered the art of silence, you'll find that the next strategy complements it perfectly. Cultivating an air of mystery. 3. Cultivate an air of mystery. Do you ever feel the pressure to reveal too much about yourself too soon? In today's world of oversharing and constant social media updates, it's easy to fall into the trap of laying everything bare. But have you considered the power of restraint in revealing who you are? Stoicism teaches us to value moderation in all things, and this extends to how we present ourselves to others. The philosopher Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The object of life is not to be on the side of the majority, but to escape finding oneself in the ranks of the insane." This sentiment applies perfectly to the idea of cultivating an air of mystery. In a world where everyone is eager to be seen and heard, stepping back and maintaining some enigma sets you apart. People are naturally drawn to the unknown. They are curious about what lies beneath the surface, and by choosing what to reveal and when, you create a sense of intrigue. But let's be clear, cultivating mystery does not mean being distant or deceptive. Authenticity is key, especially in Stoicism, where virtue and honesty are fundamental principles. The goal is not to create a false image of yourself, but to master the art of timing and revelation. When you reveal less, people pay more attention to what you do share, and they value your words and actions more highly. Think about it. When you meet someone who doesn't immediately tell you their entire life story, doesn't it make you more interested in learning about them? Contrast this with someone who overshares from the start. Often, their words lose weight, and we stop listening as closely. The same applies to you. By revealing just enough to engage, but withholding enough to keep others intrigued, you make yourself someone worth prioritizing. In Stoicism, self-restraint is a virtue, and this includes how we manage our personal narrative. You don't need to be the loudest or most visible person in the room to be influential. Often, it's the ones who speak sparingly, who reveal their thoughts with care, that leave the deepest impression. By practicing this kind of restraint, you compel others to seek you out, to value your opinions and your presence. Now imagine combining this air of mystery with the strategic use of silence we just discussed. You become someone who doesn't need to dominate the conversation or constantly seek validation. Instead, your words carry weight, and people prioritize your insights because they know you don't share them lightly. This combination of silence and mystery creates a presence that is impossible to ignore. But remember, authenticity remains key. Your mystery should never be built on dishonesty or manipulation. Stoicism reminds us to stay true to our values. It's not about playing games, but about being thoughtful in what we reveal and ensuring that our actions and words align with our true character. At this point, we've covered two essential strategies: persuasive storytelling and the power of strategic silence. But there's more. Before we move on to the next strategy, I want to encourage you to stay with me through the entire video, because every one of these strategies builds on the others. Miss one, and you risk missing the full impact they can have on your life. Stay tuned, because we're about to dive into one of the most timeless principles of human interaction, the power of reciprocity. 4. Apply the principle of reciprocity. Have you ever noticed how small acts of kindness or generosity seem to linger in your mind, compelling you to return the favor in some way? This is not just coincidence. It's a fundamental aspect of human psychology called reciprocity. Stoicism teaches us that the greatest gift we can give is rooted in virtue and service to others. In practicing reciprocity, we align ourselves with these Stoic values, creating bonds of trust and mutual respect with those around us. Reciprocity is the subtle force that drives many of our social interactions. When someone offers you a favor, a thoughtful gesture, or even a word of kindness, there's a natural pull to reciprocate. Seneca, one of the great Stoic thinkers, expressed this beautifully when he said, "While we teach, we learn." By giving without expecting immediate returns, we plant seeds that can grow into deep, meaningful relationships built on goodwill and mutual benefit. These relationships, in turn, increase your influence and make others prioritize you in their thoughts and actions. But why does this principle work so effectively? It's because reciprocity taps into one of our deepest instincts, the need for balance and fairness. When someone helps us, we feel an unconscious need to even the scales, whether through returning the favor or offering something of equal value. This is the foundation of social cohesion and cooperation. Stoicism encourages us to engage with others ethically and with virtue, and reciprocity is a powerful tool for fostering positive, ethical relationships. How can you use reciprocity to elevate your influence? Start by offering value without any strings attached. Whether it's advice, assistance, or even just a kind word, giving selflessly creates an invisible bond with those around you. People are more likely to prioritize someone who has added value to their lives. Over time, as these small gestures accumulate, you'll find yourself surrounded by individuals who feel a sense of loyalty and appreciation toward you, often without even realizing why. However, as with all Stoic principles, authenticity is crucial. The Stoic pursuit of virtue means that we must give not with the expectation of receiving something in return, but out of a genuine desire to do good. Manipulative giving, where the act of kindness is simply a means to get something back, undermines trust and erodes the very relationships you're trying to build. True reciprocity is rooted in sincerity, and people can easily sense when a gesture is not genuine. In addition, Stoicism teaches us that external rewards, such as recognition or material gain, should never be the ultimate goal of our actions. Instead, we should focus on cultivating virtue and living in accordance with nature. This means that when we practice reciprocity, we do so out of a desire to live ethically, not because we expect immediate benefits. When others sense that your kindness is sincere, they will naturally prioritize you in their social circles, work environments, and personal lives. But like all powerful tools, reciprocity must be used wisely. There is a fine line between selflessly giving and being taken advantage of. Stoicism teaches us to set boundaries and recognize our own worth. As you offer value to others, be mindful of situations where your generosity is not respected or reciprocated. The goal is not to give endlessly without return, but to foster balanced, respectful relationships. When applied with care, reciprocity becomes a natural force that enhances your social standing and strengthens your bonds with others. At this point, we've explored three powerful strategies: storytelling, strategic silence, and reciprocity. Each one builds on the next, forming a foundation for lasting influence and respect. I encourage you to reflect on how these principles are interconnected and how they can transform the way others see you. The next strategy we'll explore is deeply rooted in Stoic philosophy. It's about valuing yourself and setting the tone for how others treat you. But before we move on, remember, if you're finding these insights valuable, I invite you to stay with me until the end, because the full power of these strategies lies in understanding them as a complete system. 5. Prioritize yourself. In a world that constantly demands our attention, energy, and resources, how often do we stop to ask, am I giving myself the care and respect I deserve? Stoicism teaches us that the foundation of all external influence begins within. When we prioritize ourselves, not in a selfish or self-centered way, but with genuine self-respect, we send a powerful message to the world. We signal that our time, energy, and well-being are valuable, and in doing so, others begin to respect and prioritize us as well. Marcus Aurelius, in his meditations, often reflected on the importance of self-care and the cultivation of inner strength. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This is the essence of prioritizing yourself. When you recognize your intrinsic value and focus on nurturing your mind, body, and spirit, you build a foundation of self-assurance that others can't help but notice. But what does it truly mean to prioritize yourself? First and foremost, it's about setting boundaries. Too often, we allow others to dictate our time and energy, fearing that saying no will diminish our value in their eyes. However, the opposite is often true. Stoicism teaches us to act with intention, and by setting clear boundaries, you show others that your time is precious. This act of self-respect not only prevents burnout, but also makes others appreciate the time you do give them even more. When you prioritize yourself, you also invest in your personal growth. Stoicism encourages us to constantly seek wisdom, whether through learning, reflection, or self-improvement. By dedicating time to your own development, you ensure that you remain a valuable asset to those around you. The more you grow, the more others will seek your counsel, your skills, and your presence. Self-improvement becomes a magnet for influence. Furthermore, prioritizing yourself means taking care of your physical and mental well-being. How can you expect others to prioritize you if you don't prioritize your own health? Stoicism emphasizes the importance of maintaining balance in all aspects of life. By engaging in regular self-care, whether through exercise, mindfulness, or relaxation, you cultivate an aura of strength and stability that naturally draws others in. People are more likely to respect someone who clearly respects themselves. However, like all Stoic principles, there is a delicate balance to be maintained. Prioritizing yourself does not mean disregarding others or becoming self-absorbed. Stoicism teaches us that we are part of a larger community, and our actions should always contribute to the greater good. The key is balance. By taking care of yourself, you ensure that you can contribute more effectively to those around you. Self-respect and selflessness are not opposites. They complement each other. As you continue to implement this strategy, ask yourself, am I setting the right boundaries in my life? Am I investing enough time in my personal growth? Reflect on how these choices affect the way others treat you. When you prioritize yourself, you create a ripple effect. Others will begin to prioritize you too, because they see that you value your own worth. And now, as we move to the next strategy, I invite you to leave a comment below. Share with us. How do you prioritize yourself in your daily life? What challenges have you faced in setting boundaries or focusing on your own well-being? Your experiences might inspire others to take that crucial step towards self-respect and balance. In the following section, we will explore a strategy that may seem simple but is incredibly powerful: genuinely listening to people. This principle is not just about hearing words. It's about understanding and connecting with others on a deeper level. Let's dive into the art of listening with a Stoic mindset. 6. Genuinely listen to people. In a world filled with constant distractions and noise, do you truly listen when others speak? It's a question worth pondering. Listening, in its most genuine form, is one of the most powerful ways to build influence and trust. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of active listening, not just hearing words, but truly understanding the thoughts, emotions, and intentions behind them. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher, once said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." This simple yet profound wisdom reflects the immense power that listening holds in shaping our interactions and relationships. Think about the last time you were in a conversation. Were you fully present, or were you simply waiting for your turn to speak? Many of us fall into the latter category, nodding along while mentally rehearsing our next point. But genuine listening requires presence. It requires letting go of your own agenda and focusing completely on the other person. When you do this, you not only hear their words, you understand their emotions, their motivations, and their unspoken desires. Why is this so important? Because every person you interact with craves to be heard. It's a fundamental human need, and when you fulfill it, you become someone they trust, respect, and prioritize. Stoicism teaches us that by showing respect to others, we elevate ourselves. When you truly listen to someone, you're signaling that their thoughts and feelings matter to you. This builds rapport, fosters deep connections, and positions you as a trusted confidant. But listening, in the Stoic sense, is more than just an interpersonal skill. It's also about gaining knowledge. When we listen, we learn. We gather insights into the other person's worldview, their values, and their approach to life. This knowledge is invaluable. It allows us to tailor our responses in a way that resonates with them on a deeper level. As Seneca wrote, "While we teach, we learn." By actively engaging in listening, we not only build trust, but also deepen our understanding of others and ourselves. However, as with all things, Stoicism reminds us that balance is key. Listening should never be passive. Genuine listening is an active process that requires attention and discernment. As you listen, reflect on what the other person is truly saying. What emotions are they conveying? What is their underlying motivation? This form of active listening allows you to respond not just to their words, but to their deeper needs and concerns. Your replies become more thoughtful, more empathetic, and ultimately more influential. Stoicism also teaches us the value of restraint. There are times when the best response is silence, allowing the other person the space to process their own thoughts. This ties back to the strategy of strategic silence, whereby withholding immediate responses, you allow the conversation to deepen. By combining genuine listening with strategic silence, you create a dynamic where people not only feel heard, but also feel comfortable sharing more with you. This openness leads to stronger connections and ultimately greater influence. Listening is also about understanding the emotional undercurrents of a conversation. Stoics believe in controlling their own emotions, but they also recognize the importance of understanding the emotions of others. When you listen with empathy, you are able to discern the emotional state of the other person, guiding the conversation in a way that addresses their feelings and concerns. This emotional intelligence is a cornerstone of Stoic wisdom. It allows you to navigate complex social dynamics with grace and influence. But like all Stoic practices, genuine listening is a skill that requires continual refinement. Ask yourself, am I fully present when others speak? Do I listen with the intention to understand or merely to respond? Reflect on your interactions and strive to be more mindful in your conversations. The more you practice genuine listening, the more you will see others naturally gravitating towards you, trusting you, and valuing your presence. As we move into the next strategy, keep in mind that listening is just one part of the larger Stoic approach to social dynamics. It lays the foundation for deeper understanding, which in turn allows you to create a sense of value around your presence. And that leads us to our next powerful principle: creating a sense of scarcity. Let's explore how scarcity, when applied correctly, can significantly increase the value others place on your time and attention. 7. Create a sense of scarcity. Have you ever noticed how rare things tend to be more desirable? Whether it's a limited edition item or an exclusive event, scarcity makes us value something more. This principle doesn't only apply to material objects, it also applies to people. Stoicism teaches us to value our time and energy, and by creating a sense of scarcity around ourselves, we can elevate our influence and command greater respect from others. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, often reflected on the limited nature of time. He wrote, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." This insight aligns perfectly with the concept of scarcity. By recognizing the value of your own time, you naturally start to limit how much of it you give to others. And when your presence becomes more selective, people start to value it more. But how does this work in practice? Think about it this way. When you are always readily available, always the first to respond, always present at every event or meeting, people may start to take your presence for granted. You become just another constant fixture in their lives, easily accessible and thus less valuable. However, when you make deliberate choices about when and where to invest your time, your presence becomes more meaningful. You shift from being always available to being sought after. Stoicism teaches us the importance of living in accordance with nature and setting healthy boundaries. By creating a sense of scarcity around yourself, you align with this Stoic principle, ensuring that you prioritize your own well-being and personal growth. You show others that your time is valuable and should not be wasted. When you are not always accessible, people become more thoughtful about how they use your time and more appreciative when they have your attention. But creating scarcity is not about playing games or being manipulative. It's about understanding your own worth and making conscious choices about how you spend your time. Just as Stoicism encourages us to focus on what we can control, creating scarcity is about controlling your availability in a way that benefits both you and those around you. It's about being present when it truly matters, rather than spreading yourself too thin. The key here is balance. If you make yourself too scarce, you risk becoming disconnected or irrelevant. Stoicism teaches moderation in all things, and this applies here as well. Your goal should be to create a sense of importance around your presence without completely withdrawing from social interactions. When you strike the right balance, people will value the time you do give them and seek out your insights, opinions, and company with greater respect. Moreover, scarcity naturally leads to more impactful interactions. When your presence is limited, each conversation, meeting, or event you attend carries more weight. People pay closer attention to what you say because they know your time is valuable. This amplifies your influence as others begin to see you not as someone who is always available, but as someone whose presence is significant and meaningful. As you implement this strategy, remember the Stoic practice of self-reflection. Ask yourself, am I giving my time too freely? Am I setting the right boundaries to ensure my time is valued? Reflect on how you can create a sense of scarcity that aligns with your values and personal goals. Now that we've explored the power of creating scarcity, let's move on to our final strategy. It's one that encapsulates the essence of Stoic strength and self-mastery, the ability to walk away when necessary. This may be the hardest lesson to learn, but it's one of the most empowering. 8. Be willing to walk away. There is a unique strength in knowing when to walk away. It's a strength that Stoicism teaches us, and one that can significantly shift the balance of power in your interactions. Being willing to walk away is not about indifference or avoidance. It's about understanding your own worth and refusing to settle for less than you deserve. Seneca, one of the great Stoic philosophers, once said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." This Stoic wisdom reminds us that clinging too tightly to external validation, relationships, or opportunities can lead to a kind of poverty, a poverty of the soul. When you are willing to walk away from situations that do not serve you, you demonstrate a profound understanding of your own value. Why is this so powerful? Because when others sense that you are not dependent on their approval or participation, they begin to see you differently. Your willingness to walk away creates a sense of strength and autonomy that others cannot help but respect. You are no longer at the mercy of external forces, but instead, you become the master of your own decisions and actions. In many social and professional situations, the fear of losing someone's approval or the desire to be included can cause us to compromise our values or self-worth. But Stoicism teaches us to detach from these external desires and focus on what we can control, our own actions and decisions. By being willing to walk away, you take back control. You show others that your worth is not contingent on their validation. But how does this align with Stoicism? Stoicism emphasizes self-reliance and resilience. Walking away is an embodiment of these Stoic virtues. It shows that you are not swayed by external circumstances, but are instead guided by your inner principles and values. This detachment from external outcomes is a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy, allowing you to maintain your integrity and self-respect in any situation. Of course, walking away should not be used as a tactic for manipulation or to create unnecessary drama. Stoicism teaches us to act with reason and virtue. Walking away should be a last resort, used only when it becomes clear that staying in a situation would compromise your values, well-being, or personal growth. When done with wisdom and clarity, walking away is a powerful statement of self-worth. As you reflect on this final strategy, ask yourself, are there situations in my life where I'm afraid to walk away, even though I know I should? Consider how embracing this Stoic principle could empower you to make decisions that align more closely with your true self. We've now journeyed through 8 powerful strategies, each rooted in Stoic philosophy, that can elevate your influence and presence in any situation. From mastering the art of storytelling to harnessing the power of silence, From practicing reciprocity to being willing to walk away, these principles offer a roadmap for personal and social mastery. But remember, Stoicism teaches us that these strategies must be applied with authenticity and integrity. As you begin to incorporate these practices into your life, I invite you to engage with this community. Leave a comment below. What strategy resonated most with you? How do you plan to apply these Stoic principles to your own life? If you found value in this content, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with others who might benefit from these timeless Stoic lessons. Your engagement helps us continue to bring meaningful content to those on their journey of personal growth. Thank you for watching, and may you walk the Stoic path with wisdom, strength, and virtue.